Howdy ho, Italians and non-Italians. I'm pretty sure that covers technically everybody who exists. Yeah, you're either Italian or you're not Italian. It's an interesting way to think about it. I don't know why my head went to that first. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Connor. I talk about fashion and probably in the future more than fashion because I do have a lot of interests and things that I like. And also I like fashion and style and more of just a, hey, let me give you tips kind of way. But you know, that's just what I'm probably most known for right now. But I do want to talk a little bit more in the future about, you know, the philosophies of fashion, the ethics, stuff like that, which we will get to in future videos. But today we're going to be doing basically the opposite of that and exactly what I said I am already good at. And that is going to be discussing 3 ways that you can instantly improve your personal style after watching this video. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this video and talk about this is because I feel like recently online, not just recently, but like within the past few years, all of the discourse online that I've seen regarding fashion has been about personal style, how to develop your personal style, and what makes personal style personal, how other creators have found their personal style. And I've made numerous videos on my TikTok about this. You can go check them out if you feel like scrolling through what is probably an endless abyss of videos. But right now it seems like everybody is so honed in on this idea of personal style. And I think a lot of that is because everybody in today's age where TikTok has kind of uniformitized, or I guess has kind of created a uniform, a look, and with the fact that TikTok has accelerated all the fashion trends, everybody kind of looks the same. And let's be real, fashion throughout history has been people trying to use clothing to set them apart from other people, to make themselves feel superior or feel better about themselves, right? That's why we have a lot of fashion trends. That's why a lot of the most fashion forward people are, you know, who they are, is because they're constantly looking for things that nobody else is doing so that they can stick out from the crowd. And I'll be honest, I do this too in some ways. Sometimes I prefer to wear stuff that's a little bit more out there, something that, you know, typically people aren't gonna see. And for a while that was really easy because the place that I live is not super fashion forward. Like nobody's really wearing any of the clothes that I'm wearing, so I could do very little and get away with a lot. However, if I went to a place like New York, I'd probably have to go a little bit more over the top of what I already do in order to kind of get that same standout, like unique vibe. And back in the day before the internet, I'm sure that was the case with a lot of people. But following the rise of TikTok and just what it's done to the trends, it feels like you can really find any kind of outfit anywhere. It's become so much harder to be unique or to feel unique, to feel like you have personal style. And because of that, there's a large push towards people trying to show that they have personal style, trying to show others how to have personal style, because everybody wants to stand out in a world where it's increasingly harder to stand out, specifically in terms of fashion. Because frankly, if you post one thing online and it does look good, you can find 50 other videos of that the next day of people wearing literally exactly what you had. I mean, think of tabbies. They used to be so niche, and now everyone in the universe has tabbies. Like I'd say they're almost like mainstream. They're like fashion mainstream, but they're almost like kind of just not regular person, but like non-fashion people mainstream. If you're not into fashion, you still have probably heard of them or seen them online or something about that, right? So in light of that, I thought I'd give you 3 ways to, you know, instantly have a little bit more fun with your outfits, how to feel a little bit more unique. And I would like to preface though that despite these tips that I'm going to give, personal style and things that make you feel comfortable and complete and clothes that really feel like you, that does take a long time to develop, right? These are tips that will more so kind of start you down that journey while also giving you a little bit of an instant fashion boost in the meantime. And I would like to say as well that there is a difference between being fashionable and having personal style, or just having style. I think that a lot of people are able to be fashionable, right? You can be fashionable if you just wear trends, right? It's easy to be fashionable that way. But style comes through a methodic approach to fashion over the course of a long period of time. A very devoted and I'll say deliberate approach to the clothes that you wear through the course of a long time. And not even just clothes, but tastes, hobbies, interests, things like that, that all kind of come together to influence your personal style. So again, these will not give you instant personal style, but they might help you to be a little bit more fashionable in the meantime. That being said, let's get into point number 1, and that is proportions. And I know you're gonna all hear this and groan. Connor, we've heard this a million times. We've heard this, it's all over TikTok. Proportions is such a buzzword. And I get it. It is a buzzword, and I get it. Like, I understand that people are tired of it. But today I want to try to illustrate it in maybe a slightly slightly different way than what people normally talk about. And for those who aren't really familiar with that, I'll just give a very, very quick rundown. Of course, with the help of my computer, because I always have my computer. It's kind of like my sidekick at this point. And I'm going to read this definition that I found online because I think it explains the concept more concisely than I could. But it basically says this: proportions in clothing refer to the pleasing relationship between the size and shape of different parts of a garment or an outfit and how they relate to the body. And I would also add that it's the size and shape of garments as compared to other garments, not just the body. But that is something that most people already know. And again, this is the part that most people will talk about, is the rule of thirds, right? People say, you know, 1/3 to the top, 2/3 to the bottom, or 2/3 to the top, 1/3 to the bottom. And that's kind of where we're getting this like cropped boxy shirt look, which I personally do like. And I think a lot of people would agree that that does look really good. But then again, that could just be the times that we're in, and maybe people are just looking for something new, and this is new, and eventually it will get worn. Or it's not new, it's past the new stage, and now it's kind of, maybe it's starting to get to that point of oversaturation. And I'm sure that eventually this silhouette will get tired and people will be over it, but that's the same with everything in fashion. For right now though, I want to talk about proportions of a garment and how they relate to the body. Now this part is going to be maybe a little bit controversial, and I don't actually need my computer for this. It'll probably be better for me to not have this, but there's lots of discourse online in the fashion space I've seen on both sides of people saying dress for your body type and people saying don't dress for your body type, just wear whatever you want. And I will say, at the end of the day, wear whatever you want is the most important rule. And that means that whether or not you prioritize dressing for your body or not, as long as you're wearing what you want and doing what you want, that's what matters. Don't listen to these people who say don't dress for your body type, it's not important if that doesn't matter to you. And don't listen to people who are saying dress for your body type, that's all that matters, if that's not what's important to you. Do what is important to you and what is going to make you feel the best in your clothes and make you feel the most comfortable. That being said, I am going to talk about dressing in relation to your body type and your body shape specifically. And again, this is maybe controversial. I'm not really sure the exact way to say this, but I'd say specifically dressing for the body type that you want to portray, if that makes sense. Now, the easiest way to demonstrate this is to just use my own body type, my own body shape as an example, because that's what I know and that's what I'm familiar with. However, I will say that these specific examples are specific to my body shape, my literal, just how I look, and these may or may not apply to you. It's just giving you a look into what it's like to dress for your body shape and to take that into account when it comes to putting thought into the proportions of the clothing that you're deciding to put on your body. So first things first, I will say that I typically prefer the look of a inverted triangle, right? That's the body type that I want to portray. That's the body type that personally I think looks the best. But again, that's completely subjective. Some people would completely disagree with that. That's just the body type that I find the most appealing. And therefore it's a body shape that I want to emphasize on myself, because I have some of those features, but I also don't. And again, I will say this, you should be comfortable in your own body. This is not to say don't be comfortable with your body, but I will say that there are ways to dress for your body shape that will be more flattering to you. If you don't want to do that, again, totally cool. Totally your choice. That being said, let me show you literally just a physical example. Okay, so remember what I said about my ideal body type, shape, or whatever you want to call it, is I think that like, hold on, let me put this right here. I think that like the wider upper body to like the slimmer waist, and then maybe a little bit of width like in the thighs or whatever, like kind of like a slim athletic build, right? That's what I think is the body shape that I like the most. Sorry, not like the most. That's the wrong way to say it. That's the body shape that I think is the most physically appealing, if that makes sense. Now, I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable in this next part. And even though I am a content creator and I constantly post myself online, there are parts of my body that I'm insecure about. So keep in mind what I said about what I want to portray in terms of body shape. Silhouette, there we go. I can't believe it took me this long to say silhouette. The silhouette that I want to portray. Wow, I feel stupid now. The silhouette that I want to portray is the slim athletic build, and I have elements of that, but not all of it. So for example, if you look at this like side of my body, hold on, let me pull on my pants actually, because my pants are kind of hiding it. Okay, so if you look at this left side of my body, this is kind of the shape of my body, like right over here, right? I have very wide hips for a guy, which again is not a bad thing. I just, you know, and again, I'm being vulnerable. I'm a little insecure about this. I wish that I had slimmer hips. I've always wished that, because my wide hips just don't let me have the silhouette that I really want, right? So again, it's a little hard to show this, but I basically go like this, and I kind of got an hourglass figure. Honestly, y'all, I kind of got a little bit of an hourglass going. So I mean, ladies be jealous. I know. I got that hourglass shape going on, whatever. I got those wide hips, whatever, you know. But that being said, the wide hips are not something that I want to emphasize. And there's ways that make my hips look wider, and there's ways that make my hips look not as wide. So in order to portray the silhouette that I want to, I typically wear higher waisted pants that hit more at this midpoint, or where my waist kind of curves in the most. And I also wear pants that tend to be a little bit baggier and sit at my ankle. And the reason that I do this is because it makes my overall like lower body look wider, because my legs kind of curve in like this. So it kind of makes the bottom of my legs look a little bit wider. It just kind of makes things feel like they fit me a little bit better. And if I wore pants that were lower on my hip, like if I sagged, it would kind of emphasize that my hips are wider. But because I wear them a little higher up, it makes my hips look not as wide as they genuinely are for my body. Another thing I like to do is wear cropped shirts. And I get comments all the time saying, people like, you're gonna regret cropping your shirts because it's just a trend, it's just a trend. And for me, it's not just a trend. And the reason for that is because my lats right here are about the same width as my hips, which is again, not the silhouette that I want to portray. And because of that, if I wear a t-shirt that's longer, it's going to hit my hips and then it's going to go out. It's basically going to drape over my hips. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not what I want to portray in terms of silhouette. So if I wear a shirt that's longer, it's going to catch on my hips and it's going to move out, and you're going to be able to see the drape of my hips, and it's just going to highlight the fact that I have wider hips. Whereas if I wear a shirt that's cropped and kind of fits right at this like thinnest point of my waist, it doesn't hit my hips. It actually helps to give a little bit of illusion that makes my upper body seem a little bit wider than it is. And again, I guess I could just, do more lat exercises, which I do, but it doesn't really work because I'm a pretty skinny guy. But that's just something that I kind of avoid, or I guess kind of proactively do in order to avoid emphasizing my wider hips. And if you have wide hips and you don't care that you have wide hips, then that's great. That's just something that I personally care about on my own body, and it's not something that I want to highlight. In addition, while I do look like a little bit of a string bean, my body is actually a little bit awkwardly proportioned, where my torso is a lot longer than my legs. Like, I'm not a short guy, but because of the way my body is proportioned and my torso being a little bit longer, it makes people perceive me as shorter if I don't wear clothes that help to make my legs look longer, right? Because a lot of people associate long legs with height. Because typically, if you look at people who are tall, like genuinely, if you go and see people who are tall and you take note of this, they typically have really, really long legs, and their torso is a little bit shorter compared to that. Like, they'll still be tall, but their legs will take up more of their body than their torso will. And that's another reason why I wear the high-waisted and the crop shirts, is because it gives the illusion that my legs are a lot longer than they are, which in turn helps me to look a little bit taller than I typically am perceived when I wear like longer clothes. So now that I've kind of floundered through that explanation, hopefully that helps a tiny bit in kind of explaining to you different ways in which I have learned to highlight the areas of my body that I want highlighted, and kind of avoid highlighting the areas of my body that I don't really want to. And yes, an argument could be made like, hey, just accept the way you are. But I think that you're able to do that while still also dressing in a way that's flattering to your body shape. Now, I can't go through and explain what looks flattering or what's good on every body shape, because I don't have y'all's body shape, and frankly, I don't have the time to do that, and I don't even know that I'd be able to do that, because it's just not the way that my body is shaped. And honestly, if you think about it, it's kind of similar to makeup, where like a lot of what makeup is it's contouring the face to highlight the parts that you want to highlight, right? To make you look like you have higher cheekbones, or maybe a little bit more of the hollow cheek look, or maybe to like smooth out some of your skin. Different people use different makeup for different reasons, obviously, and this isn't a catch-all. Not everybody's using it to cover up or hide, but a lot of people use makeup to show their face in the most flattering way. And I think that you can do the same with clothes, and I think that's totally appropriate. Again, I have to say this because I know somebody's still not going to take this point. You should first learn to be comfortable with who you are. That being said, once you do that, I still think that it is okay to dress in a way that flatters that. Rambling aside, let's move to point number 2, and that is matching versus cohesion. And I actually did a TikTok video on this, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy this. So I wanted to put it in this video because I think it is a very great way to instantly make your style feel a lot more put together and a lot more unique and exciting. So first things, let's explain matching. A lot of y'all know what that is. It's just like matching alike colors or items together. The most common version of that is the sandwich method, right? You have a top, and then you have shoes that are like the same color. Another great form of matching is just matching all your accessories, right? Your shoes to your belt to your bag, or maybe your hat to your shoes, or just you get matching, right? Typically like the most common way of matching is matching right colors, because as long as you're not like colorblind and you can see color pretty well, you're pretty able to match. And there's a time and place. I will say that there are matching outfits that look really great. Like monochrome outfits, I think think tend to look really, really good. But I also think that they feel a little bit like intro, a little bit basic. Again, there's nothing wrong, but it just, because it's a little bit easier to do, it just feels like simple, if that makes sense. On the other hand, you have Cohesion. And essentially what Cohesion is it's items of clothing that may not necessarily be the same color, but they complement each other in various ways. That can be through color, through shade, which is probably gonna be the two most obvious and most common ways of doing that, but also through similar stylistic elements. Think of like fabric or fit or silhouette, drape, just stuff like that. Now, the reason why I think Cohesion is better is because it takes a little bit more time to develop and it's a little bit harder to do. And frankly, it's a little bit scary. It's why a lot of people don't want to wear multiple colors. I frankly still have problems with this, but it is something to think about. And if you start doing this now, you can, I'm assuming you can probably train it into being able to do it. I think I've gotten a lot better at that over the years, but I'll throw some examples up of Cohesion. Cohesion, in my opinion, is the more interesting way to dress because it shows that you put more thought into your outfit, because genuinely you do. It's harder to be cohesive than to match. Anybody can match, again, as long as you're not colorblind, but not everybody can make a cohesive outfit. And I think because of that, it's a lot more appealing to look at. And typically it's a lot more fun, at least in my opinion, because I love color. I love a lot of color, and people who are able to style a lot of color, their outfits are honestly typically amazing. I think they're just more exciting to look at. They're more head turning. Like you pass them on the street and you're like, wow, like that's a cool outfit. I want to look at that longer, you know? Now, Cohesion is something that you're going to have to figure out for yourself because everybody likes different combinations of colors. Everybody likes different shades of colors. Everyone likes different textures, different things like that. So I will give you one practical tip to like start towards that journey. And that is basically to pick one item as your base, like as the base of your outfit. Maybe that's a shirt, maybe that's a jacket, maybe it's a pair of pants, or maybe it's shoes. And then build your outfit around that using things that are complementary colors, right? It's not all the same shade of navy. It's not all the same shade of red, but it's colors outside of that that still look good together. And again, that's going to take some time to develop, and that's totally okay. But there's no time like the present to start. Again, in a world where everyone kind of is striving to be unique and striving to be different, matching can honestly come across as overly predictable and just easy to do. Whereas Cohesion typically gives you that more intentional, but somehow effortless look that people like. They see somebody walk around and you're like, wow, they just look effortlessly stylish. I don't know why. Or they look sophisticated. I just can't put my finger on why. Again, it's because a lot of those people know how to blend colors together in a way that's not matching, but shows intentionality and still looks good. And actually, if you really don't know where to start on color, obviously there's the color wheel that a lot of people reference, but I think the color wheel gets a little bit old and dated fast. You can buy books that have different like color combinations. This is one that's actually blowing up on TikTok right now, which is really random because I found this in a Japanese convenience store by where I live, like, I don't know, a year ago. And then all of a sudden I saw people with this book. I think it's available on Amazon too, honestly. It's called A Dictionary of Color Combinations Volume 2. And you don't necessarily have to get this book. You can just get any book really that has different color combinations, or you can look up different color combinations. Or another easy way to do it is to literally just look at outfits that you like and just see what colors people are putting together, because typically the best way to learn is from people who are already good at it and already doing it. And I can almost guarantee that a lot of the people that you like the best, like in terms of style, are probably already doing this. And moving on to our last point for today. Sorry, the light is getting really bad now, so I'm gonna try to do this fast. The last point for today is going to be texture. Adding interesting textures to an outfit is not only, I think, my favorite part of fashion and maybe the thing that I'm drawn the most to in my own sense of personal style, but it's something that makes your outfit instantly more interesting, instantly more exciting to look at. Especially if you're somebody who does not enjoy that last tip and does not want to add color and just wants to stick with like all black or all monochrome. Adding fun textures goes like in such a large way. For instance, getting a cable knit over just a regular plain knit sweater, or getting maybe a loop knit sweater over a regular plain sweater. Maybe getting linen pants over just regular twill pants. You think of something like silk or satin with that beautiful shine to it. Throwing on something that's a unique, fun texture is not something that a lot of people do, and because of that, it makes a lot of outfits a lot more interesting immediately, like instant. I'd say this is the most instant way to like improve, or maybe not improve, but make your style more interesting, is to just throw on very cool textures. Like I love boucle boucle. I think boucle is a very, very fun texture. It was actually on one of my first jackets that I ever got when getting into fashion, and probably something that like really started my fashion journey. But throwing on fun textures and even mixing different textures, like throwing on leather with knitwear or throwing wool with silk, things that you wouldn't necessarily like imagine together. The contrast of the two can be really, really exciting and really fun to look at and really make your outfit stand out in a way that's a lot different than just having denim on denim or cotton on cotton, wool on wool, right? It just gives a little bit more of a contrast, and contrast in outfits is what a lot of people find appealing. Hold on, y'all. I have to move my car because my roommate has to go to work. I'll be right back. I'll be back in a flash. Back in a flash. Don't miss me too much, y'all. Ow. All right, I'm back, y'all. I hope you didn't miss me too much. Back to texture. I would love to show you my outfit today because I think that it's a pretty solid example of this. I have this very soft cotton, kind of a bit of a fuzzy texture in person, with these twill, like striped pants, which have like a herringbone structure to them. I have a very nice leather belt, and then I also have these shoes, which I'll just show you. You can kind of see the texture in this through all of these studs right here. You have this leather, which contrasts very nice with the cotton. And on top of all of that, I was wearing this jacket before I took it off, but this is a very heavy, thick canvas jacket, which this is very, very different from all the other stuff that I'm wearing. And that's a more subtle version. I will throw up another example. Like I have this beautiful vintage mink coat where like in this outfit, for example, I could have worn just a regular brown jacket, but I threw on this mink coat and that texture adds so much extra intrigue to the outfit. So I'd say this is probably the most fun, the most exciting, and probably the easiest way to instantly add a little bit more pizzazz to your own style. And I'd say it's something that you should definitely experiment with. Find out what textures you like and start to get invested into those. Some people are gonna really like, again, like really chunky knits. Some people are gonna like leather. Some people might like a nice thick canvas. But I would suggest trying to find 2 different textures that you like and start playing around with them in different areas of your outfit. So, something that you might not normally do, like a boucle jacket might be fun. Or maybe like a brushed mohair sweater. I know those were popular a few years ago, but maybe you didn't get a chance to try them. That's another fun way to add texture. Anyways, that was today's video on how to instantly improve your style, or I guess a better way to phrase that would be how to instantly start on the path to improving your style, or at least making it more interesting, right? Improve is a hard word to use in terms of style because it's so subjective. Like getting better at fashion, I guess like maybe you can, but again, it's all subjective and it's all based on you versus like yourself essentially. Anyways, I have to go make lunch. It is currently, I don't know if you can see that, 4:30, and I have not eaten today. So I have to go make lunch and then go run and do other things. But it has been so much fun talking to y'all. I love y'all so much. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you gain something out of this. Let me know if you're gonna end up using any of these tips, or at least starting to delve into that world and just explore it a little bit more. Love y'all so much. I'll see you in the next one, and deuces.